Hey everyone. So today I just wanted to share my journey from being a 2.9 GPA with no internship college student to a Google software engineer. First things first, getting a computer science bachelor's degree isn't hard. You can just get by with getting a C in every class and get a degree. But if you do that, you'll struggle landing yourself a job as a developer. This was kind of me as I spent my junior year just hanging out with my friends and not really studying for the core computer science classes such as data structures and algorithms. I had a couple of 2.0 or 2.5 GPA for 2 straight semesters and received a letter from my college saying that if I get another 2.0, I'll get kicked out of school. That's when I realized, okay, shoot, I need to focus on what I want to be. So I focused on bringing my GPA up in my senior year and eventually graduated with a degree in 4.5 years. I was still not ready to become a developer at this point though. I barely knew how to compile code, how to debug, how to use an IDE, etc. Yeah, I was terrible. But I had a big dream. I wanted to work at a big tech company. The problem started as I graduated. I had no internship or knowledge, so I was kind of in the dark about landing a job. With pretty much no good knowledge on data structures and algorithms, I was afraid of coding interviews and made a mistake of not applying to big tech companies that I wanted to work at. If you're one of those people that feel this way, start applying now. Worst case scenario, you won't hear back from them, or worse, you'll fail the interview, and that's good. That's a learning experience. I won't be diving deep into job interviews and how to prep, since those topics deserve a video on their own, but do not make the mistake I made. With no knowledge on data structures and algorithms and any experience, I was afraid of coding interviews at this point. I somehow landed myself a couple of job interviews, and the coding interview with my first company was to write a for loop. Writing a for loop may seem like a joke, but at the time, with a few people watching me writing that for loop, I got nervous and made some mistakes, but I still completed the for loop and got an offer and took the job. I just wanted to start as a developer as soon as possible so that I'd make up all the time that I missed from not doing any internship during college. I was at this company for a year and learned real basic stuff like using an IDE, how to debug code, etc. Things I should have learned during college, but I didn't. I focused hard on learning the basics since I had no foundation. I was changing into a different person and a developer than I was in college. Then I wasn't seeing any growth from this company, so I applied to many big tech companies like Google, Microsoft. I was still afraid of the coding interviews as I heard how notorious those were. But I got an advice from someone that if you're afraid of something, you should face it, and that's exactly what I did. I applied to Google 50 plus different roles at Microsoft along with a few others. My resume wasn't great, but I focused on just doing it. Surprisingly, I heard back from Google and Microsoft. Prepping for interview for the 2 companies was one of the most exhausting but the best experiences I had gone through. This was my fault though, since I hadn't spent any time studying in college, so I had to do it this time. About my interview prep in another video, but I was basically studying all the time except for when I was eating. I love working out, playing sports, and I even gave those up. After a couple of months of intense prep, I failed the Google interview and got an offer from Microsoft. Joining Microsoft was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I've learned so much, met a lot of talented people, and made a lot of friends. I'm a different person and a developer now than I was before Microsoft. I was a mobile app dev at Microsoft and learned so much, not just about how to code, but also how to communicate and work efficiently, the culture of big tech companies, etc. Then after a few years, I wanted to explore other options and get into the machine learning AI field. I had an interview with Google and got an offer. I started working here about a month ago. The interview prep for this time around was also intense, but not as much as the previous one. The interview prep I did a few years back was the foundation I built for myself and was still there. My journey has barely started, and I still think of myself as a newbie, and there's a lot of things to learn. This isn't because I came to Google, but because 3 to 4 years is a really short time. If you do the same thing over and over again, yeah, it might be a long time. However, software engineering isn't a repetitive job. Sure, there's already a solution to building infrastructure for XYZ, algorithms for doing ABC, etc. But we use those to build better things, and that's going to be a never-ending challenge for us all. I just wanted to share my story and wanted to say that there is no shortcut to anything. It requires hard work, some failure, and mistakes along the way, and that's good. As long as you have your goal, whether it's working at Google, owning a coffee shop, being a manager of some sort, or whatever, going from where you are now to where you want to be is totally up to you and only you. Nobody else can do it for you. You can do whatever you want as long as you don't give up. How long your journey will take will depend on so many things, but I guarantee you, that you will eventually make it if you don't give up.